Persuasion involves getting people to think about something differently than they did before. So to understand how to persuade people, first, you need to understand how they think. Psychologists talk about the Elaboration likelihood model, which helps us understand whether or not a person will think deeply about a message. You should adjust your persuasion strategy to how they will process your message. In this model, there are two modes of thinking. Think of it like a highway. There is one lane that is fast and one that is slow. However, unlike with roads, these lanes in the brain have different qualities as well. The first mode is fast, but it is also intuitive. It is good at processing a lot of information, and it can process multiple streams of information in parallel. When you walk into a meeting and quickly assess all the subtle relationships between the people, you are using this mode. The second mode is slow. It is rational. It is good at processing information deeply and critically. It processes information in a straight line, so you can only think about one thing at a time. When you're working through a math problem and carefully taking each step, you are using this mode. The first is often unconscious, it is superficial, but does not require a lot of resources. The second is often conscious, it is deep, but it does require a lot of cognitive resources. In the infographic and in the reading, there are more details on these two modes of processing. As I said before, it is important to keep these two modes in mind when you craft your message, because if you try to take the wrong road, you'll end up in the wrong place entirely. People often want to persuade by using facts and rationality. We prepare well-developed cases for meetings. However, we are often disappointed by the fact that people do not listen to our well-constructed logical arguments. Remember that the second mode is exhausting and resource-heavy. So the problem is that people tend to only use the second when we have the motivation, the time, and the energy to do so. Otherwise, we are more likely to use the first mode. One important lesson from this model is that if you want to make if you want to make an appeal to someone's rationality, first make sure they are in the right mindset for it. Perhaps schedule a special time beforehand. Perhaps start by explaining why what you're saying is important so they are motivated to listen. Logic can be a powerful persuader. However, you need to clear the way for it to be effective. You cannot simply use it. If people do not have the resources, it is more useful to use other methods of persuasion, which we will talk about next. Psychologist Robert Cialdini identifies 6 principles of persuasion. First is liking. We tend to listen to the people we like. One way to use this principle is to start by finding genuine similarities with the other person. Another is to start by offering authentic praise. If you have found something in common with them, and they know you like them, they're more likely to like you back and be open to your message. Second is reciprocity. We tend to give to those who have given to us. One great way to use this principle is to simply be generous as much as you can. Of course, do not offer what you cannot give, but people who have received your generosity will be far more likely to listen to you because they want to give back to you in return. Third is social proof, and this is an interesting one. Social proof is a psychological effect where we tend to believe what others believe. If we're not sure what is true in a situation, then we will use other people's beliefs to guide our own. So 2 ways to use this principle are to build consensus and to offer testimony. Before you try to convince someone of something, start by convincing everyone else around them. Also, be honest about your own experiences. Simply talking about your own perspective, offering your own testimony, will help persuade people. Fourth is consistency. People try to act consistently. One way to use this principle is to get public commitments. If someone has publicly said they would do something, they will feel far more responsibility to do it. The 5th principle is authority. We tend to defer to visible authority. Of course, you can use this in very antisocial ways, but one way that is more pro-social is to simply make your expertise visible. By displaying your accomplishments or achievements, you make your competence more visible, which increases your apparent authority and makes you more persuasive. The final principle is scarcity. We see rare things as valuable, In this case, find your specific and unique strengths and sell those. Even if you do not have a unique strength, or you don't feel you do, you might have a unique combination of strengths. These are the 6 core principles of persuasion. In the readings, you will learn even more about how influence works, how to network, how to give feedback, and how to navigate the complicated world of organizational politics. In the next section, we will look at motivation and how to inspire action.